Good evening, everyone. Just waiting for a few folks to jump on. Hope everyone is safe. There's a massive snowstorm coming to about 24 American states. We're here in Virginia. We're prepping. It's about 8 p.m. It's very cold. Stay safe, folks. Take care of each other and your neighbors. I hope you have groceries. Think about those who are unhoused. Forgive me for not being able to go live earlier today. In addition to us preparing for the snowstorm, which apparently is going to knock us out for 2 days here, my cat, my beloved cat Billu, has been missing for 3.5 days, and there's a snowstorm coming. So I spent 2 hours going up and down the neighborhood trying to find Billu. Billu is a cat I got last year from the shelter. I hope. I think maybe someone probably saw him, picked him up. That's my hope. If you can, send a prayer for Billu, our cat. He's been missing for 3.5 days. He always comes back. Went up and down the block. I wish I could go back tomorrow, but there's a snowstorm, so I'll probably have to wait till Monday and Tuesday. We did the whole alerts. My kids are, as you could tell, despondent. But hopefully, inshallah, Billu comes back. So as this was all happening, here we are on January 24th. Saturday in the United States of America, as many states are preparing for what looks like a devastating snowstorm. In Virginia, we're expecting anywhere from 12 to 15 inches of snow, if not more. ICE has decided to murder another American. This time they murdered 37-year-old nurse who works at the VA, Alex Preddy. I think we should name these people. We should remember their names. 37-year-old man, Alex Preddy. He has no criminal background whatsoever. He is a U.S. citizen, not a drug trafficker, not a drug smuggler, not an invader, not a domestic terrorist, which is what Stephen Miller and Chrissy Nome called him earlier today. Alex Preddy is a 37-year-old nurse at the VA who decided to be an observer, a legal observer who had his camera out and was recording ICE terrorizing his community, and specifically he intervened when he saw them pepper spray a woman. He did not have his gun out, even though he has a legal permit. He was carrying a weapon. He did not have his weapon out because we have multiple videos from multiple angles that have revealed that Alex Preddy had his camera out. That was enough for multiple ICE officers to jump on him, beat him. And as they were beating him and jumping on him, they took away his gun. After they took away his gun, we have seen videos where one ICE agent fired 10 shots, killing him. He was murdered in cold blood, just like Renee Nicole Good was murdered in cold blood a couple of weeks ago. Just like Keith Porter was murdered, another name we forget, a black man in LA, but there was no video. This is not even talking about the 31 or so people who have died in ICE custody. What we found out from 2 days ago, according to the autopsy done on the Cuban immigrant, and whose name I'm going to try to find. Pardon me if anyone has it. Please put it so we can name him. Nick, I'll have you on in 5 minutes if you're willing to join me. That gentleman, they did an autopsy and it was ruled a homicide. I want to talk about a few things today. First and foremost, I'm going to say that this is all part of the plan. After the murder and execution of Renee Nicole Good, I want you all to remember, I keep receipts on the left hook, that Chrissy Nome, while her body was still warm, said that she was a, quote, domestic terrorist who was weaponizing her car against ICE agents, and that she was trained. Today, folks, I don't know if you saw, Chrissy Nome, the head of DHS, just did another comment, and I want to quote her. Quote, this individual who came with weapons and ammunition to stop a law enforcement operation of federal law enforcement officers committed an act of domestic terrorism. Bovino, the cosplay Nazi wannabe, also talked about how he came here to cause mayhem. Stephen Miller, Budget Himmler, and this is all Stephen Miller's plan, which is why on the left hook we've talked about Stephen Miller, his ideology, and how this has been his dream since the ninth grade, also called him a domestic terrorist. They are telling us not to believe the evidence of our eyes and ears, but thankfully there are multiple witnesses that caught on camera the execution and murder of Alex Preddy, just like how we have the execution and murder of Renee Nicole Good. With the murder of Renee Nicole Good, you remember Donald Trump lied to us and said that she tried to violently run him over. No, excuse me, she did violently run him over, which is remarkable how Officer Ross, the man who killed her, wasn't touched, walked over, saw that he shot her. First of all, he called her an effing B, then walked to his car and drove away. I want you also to know, folks, that if they can call white citizens domestic terrorists for simply, I don't know, being a bit mouthy, a bit lippy. She wasn't even mouthy or lippy. What did Renee Nicole Good say in her car in the Honda Pilot with stuffed animals? I'm not mad at you, dude. That was enough to get her killed. She reversed her car, moved it away, shot 3 times. The autopsy shows shot in the arm, shot here in the lung. She would have lived if not for the 3rd shot right in her head. She lay bleeding for 8 minutes. She still had a pulse. They did not let a doctor who was on the scene come in and try to investigate and help her. What happened also with Renee Nicole Good? They blocked state authorities from collecting all the evidence. They said, oh no, we got it from here. Same things happened here where they stymied local and state investigators from coming in. They said, oh no, we have it here, which is why I've called it a cover-up. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. With your own eyes, you have seen the playbook that ICE, DHS, CBP, and the Trump administration is using to cover up the execution and murder of 2 white U.S. citizens. Now, I want you to think about what CBP and ICE have told you for the past 20 years about all the thousands, according to Jen Budd, who's a whistleblower and a friend of the show, thousands of immigrants who have died in their custody. There is an HBO documentary, Critical Incident, that talks about one such case where another detained immigrant was killed. There were multiple witnesses, and they tried to cover it up. This is the playbook. This is what they have done against brown and black bodies for 20 plus years. Now, this war on terror has come home. And I just want to connect the dots a bit to just let you all know where we're about to go. So bear with me. Some of you might not like hear what I'm about to say, but that's okay. I have to say it. ICE was created in 2003. All these I'm going to have rage, a lot of rage for Democratic establishment and the Democratic centrists. So if you're a vote blue no matter who guy, I'm not your guy. I haven't been your guy for a while. I probably won't be your guy from now on. I'll tell you why. I'll connect the dots. I'll give you my reasoning, okay? 2003, in the aftermath of the worst terror attack in American soil, 19 foreign hijackers brought down the 2 towers. America chose, this is very important, America chose to engage on the war on terror. America's choice to engage on the war on terror meant that we would beef up the military-industrial complex. We would give them anything they wanted, green light. We replaced INS with DHS, Department of Homeland Security. Department of Homeland Security, folks, didn't exist in the 20th century. So all these people who say, and this includes Democrats, well, we need ICE. No, we don't. Donald Trump got rid of the Department of Education. Donald Trump got rid of USAID. 500,000 people at least have died as a result of Doge and Elon Musk not funding USAID, mostly children. ICE was created in 2003 under DHS. ICE was supposed to what? Go after the terrorists, the bad guys, keep us safe, right? We also, by we, I mean America, not me, because I protested that war. I think I was on the right side, and we were called anti-American. We were called terrorists. We were called un-American. We were lambasted. All the war hawks, the centrists, the corporate media, who were embedded journalists, all the think tank academics, rah, 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 rah. We said, this will be terrible. This will come back to bite us in the ass. We're voluntarily trading our civil liberties for the feeling of safety, but we're emboldening the military-industrial complex, and we're giving the government a loaded gun. And America said, use that loaded gun, go kill them Afghans, even though Afghans had nothing to do with 9/11. Go kill those Iraqis, kill over 1 million of them. Traumatize these 2 countries for 2 generations. We don't give a shit. We have bloodlust. Go after the Palestinians. Give Israel billions of dollars. Give them the Iron Dome. Stand back and applaud as they occupy Palestinians. Yes, this is connected to Israel as well. I want you all to pay attention that exactly what's happening now, what Israel has done. Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu came, and he was part of the chorus to sell us on the war on terror over 20 years ago. Check it out if you don't believe me. So this is what Israel has to deal with also. You have to do the war on terror, and let's do the Iranian regime change, right? You saw over the past 2 years the genocide that we have funded with U.S. dollars and money and support, Democrats and Republicans. I'm sorry to say, Joe Biden's lasting legacy of shame, that he gave Netanyahu a green light. When all of this was being done to Palestinians, and we saw it with our own eyes, a lot of Americans initially were like, that's fine. Democrats said, No problem. We said, folks, Israel has been training many of our law enforcement. Israel has been training many of our Border Patrol agents. Israel has been sharing with us how they surveil and crack down on Palestinians. We said A-OK because, hey, they're cracking down on their terrorists. Let us learn from you. Authoritarians of a feather flock together. Palantir was created after the War on Terror. Palantir was funded, supported by Democrats and Republicans. Peter Thiel, a white nationalist billionaire who helped groom J.D. Vance's career, is one of the founders of Palantir. Alex Karp, who currently runs it, was a former progressive. But now, with Palantir, guess what? Guess who provided information, their services, and technology openly and proudly to Israel during its ongoing genocide? Palantir. Go check it out right now. Alex Karp owns it, proud of it. That surveillance state has been now increasing for 20 years. We've pumped billions of dollars into it. That Palantir surveillance state is now being used by ICE. I'm sure you've seen all that video that went viral where now they're taking photos of any innocent legal American, simply just following them, watching them, recording them, which, by the way, according to the DHS, according to its own protocol, is legal. What did they say? Oh, you're in our, wait for it, database. And the person's asking, what database? Oh, you'll see. The database that we have for domestic terrorists. Who helped create that database? Who's helping with the surveillance state? Who's helping with the spying and the data? Palantir. Thank you, War on Terror. Thank you, Republicans and Democrats. The authorization to use military force, it's still there. It's still there. Exactly as Nick said, the technocracy, all right? So you got billionaires, the technocrats, the military-industrial complex, oh, they've been frothing at the mouth. They've made so much money, and America was perfectly fine with the Patriot Act, with surveillance, with Palantir, with more weapons and guns, right? With funding ICE and CBP, making them into these jacked-up Bane-like steroid Call of Duty soldiers, right? Okay, why? And this is where racism comes in. Capitalism and racism. There you go. The two enduring sins of America, the perfect marriage. Capitalism needs white supremacy in America, and white supremacy needs capitalism in America. They're intertwined. You've heard it on the left hook many, many times. I've kept saying the three enduring sins of America are capitalism, white supremacy, and misogyny, manifested in their avatar, Donald Trump. Donald Trump is as American as apple pie and slavery, all right? So now you got the military-industrial complex. Everyone's wetting their beaks. You got the Democrats, the Republicans, the centrists, the military-industrial complex. Business is a booming. Palantir, right? Raytheon. You're making guns, you're making bombs, you're sending them off to, every authoritarian regime. Turkey, Israel, you're getting information on them on how to train, how to crack down. We got to go hard on these criminals. We can't be seen as soft on criminals. So Democrats and Republicans fund ICE, fund CBP, fund DHS, give the Pentagon $1 trillion, even though the Pentagon fails every single audit. Doesn't matter. Unchecked, if you will, a free reign, a free check, a blank check. No money for healthcare, money for the military-industrial complex. Okay, 2026. Republicans have already passed the big billionaire bill. Republicans are giving permanent tax cuts to the rich. Republicans are paying for those permanent tax cuts to the rich by gutting $1 trillion from Medicaid. However, they found money, $170 billion, to fund ICE and create more detention centers and private prisons. $170 billion. No money for Medicaid. We got $170 billion for ICE. All right. Now, how do you not swear? I got kids. That's why I don't swear. Now, how is racism tied into this? A lot of people say Gestapo, right? ICE is like Gestapo. Excellent analogy. The Gestapo, the SS, Nazis, all went door to door, dragged people out of their homes, killed them, shot them, said that they were enemies of the state, right? You see Bovino. Do you see how he dressed? We talked about on the left hook. Go check it out. Bovino and Nazi. There's images. He chose that dress. He chose that SS officer uniform. He chose that haircut, right? But folks, the more accurate term is you don't have to go across Europe. Slave patrols, the KKK, law enforcement in Southern Jim Crow America. The entire system was set up for white supremacy. Imagine being black in America during Jim Crow. This is what it was like. You can't trust the judiciary. The judges, they're part of the Klan. You can't trust the jury. The jury is filled with white men and women who are not going to ever convict their husband or brother for lynching a black man. The police officers, guess what? Part and parcel of the Klan. Lawyers, part and parcel of the Klan. The entire system was rigged. ICE, yeah, you can use Gestapo, and I use the word Gestapo as well, but they were slave patrols. This is American as apple pie and slavery. What's happening? It's just a continuation. It's just a reboot. Back in the day, just like right now with Palestinians, pro-Palestinian activists, Latinos, Haitians, Somalians, it was against black people. And once it was against black people and brown people and Latinos and Muslims, America said, we got to be safe. We got to be secure. And Democrats said, now, brown cow, we can't appear weak on terrorism. We can't appear weak on crime. We can't appear weak on immigration. Look at the polls. God forbid we actually message. God forbid we actually lead. God forbid if we actually connect the dots. God forbid if we actually stand 10 toes down on, morality and ethics. God forbid if we actually, bring out people's best angels. Let's be Republican light, always on crime. This goes back to Bill Clinton. This goes back to Biden, right? The crime bill will be Republican light on crime. Will be Republican light on the blacks and the browns. Will be Republican light on immigration. And then maybe, just maybe, the white centrist, this mythical white moderate who hasn't voted Democrat since, I don't know, the 60s, will somehow come to us. Maybe Liz Cheney's base will come to us, all right? This is part and parcel of America. This is American as apple pie. People don't like to think about this. This isn't who we are, Tim Walz said. This isn't who we are, Joe Biden said. This is exactly who we've been against black and brown bodies, except that it was okay when it was done against black and brown bodies. You just saw it. You just saw it in the past 2 years against pro-Palestinian activists. You saw it. You saw it against the allies of pro-Palestinian activists. You saw it when Zoran Mamdani was asked to condemn a chant that he had never used. But nobody who was supporting the genocide was asked to condemn the genocide. Chuck Schumer took a photo with Benjamin Netanyahu. They just sent billions of dollars to Israel yet again, right? Joe Biden said green light, no problem. No red lines, okay? 65 to 70,000 Palestinians killed in front of our face the last 2 years. It was fine. Black people being shot and killed. A mile away from where Renee Nicole Good was murdered, George Floyd was murdered. It's like the universe is trying to tell America something. It's like, yo, bro, open your eyes. America's like, no, we're fine. BLM is too divisive. That term is too divisive. Colin Kaepernick bending the knee, that's too divisive. We want to get to reconciliation. We don't want to get to truth. We want reconciliation without truth. This is the truth. And every time you try to say the truth, black people, brown people, Muslims, pro-Palestinian activists, Jews, our allies, they say, now, brown cow, you're being too hysterical. Now, brown cow, you're too radical. You're too liberal. You're too leftist. You're too progressive. You're too uppity. And what we kept saying is, we're trying to warn you. We're trying to warn you, white America, not all whites. I know there are a lot of white people watching. You all know I'm not talking about all whites. I'm talking about the white majority. I'm sorry to say this. Majority of white women have voted Republican since the 60s. They've only voted twice for Democrats, once for Clinton, once for Lyndon B. Johnson. They've gone for Donald Trump 3 times. I'm sorry to say it. Just keep it at real. Majority of white women have gone for Donald Trump 3 times. White moderates, by the way, the same story that we're witnessing right now in Minneapolis, it's 1963, MLK wrote about in a Birmingham jail. Letters from a Birmingham jail. He bemoaned the white moderate, okay? He said they're a greater stumbling block to peace and justice, worse than perhaps even the White Citizens Counselor, which was the more refined version of the KKK, the people who are in the judiciary and the bureaucrats, white supremacists, and the Ku Klux Klaner. MLK said that. All right. They prefer a negative peace to a peace that agitates, right? They prefer civility to justice. Okay. Then you see 1964, the next year, Freedom Summer. They learned from what happened. A lot of the black youth, they were young people, and they said, we need white bodies on the front line with us. America will only care if white bodies and white blood is shed. So they need to be with us in solidarity. And specifically, there were a lot of these brave young white teenagers, young white students, many of them who were children of elected officials who were there and joined them in Mississippi, right? And then they got their skulls cracked. And then those whites, just make the parallel, those two white students who were executed, right, in the South for helping a black man, they were called what? Race traitors. Race traitors. Their execution and murder was not just justified, it was celebrated by the whites because they said, oh, they're not part of us. They're race traitors. And what's worse than being black? A traitor to your own race. We'll show them. Now you fast forward, they're no longer called race traitors. They're called domestic terrorists. The same playbook that was used against Renee Nicole Good, copy paste. Same playbook used against Alex Preddy. Trust the evidence of your eyes and ears, folks. Domestic terrorist. They called him a domestic terrorist. Came there for mayhem. Renee Nicole Good tried to violently run over. She was trained to do this. He came here to agitate. That poor guy was there with a phone. And he just tried to intervene because a woman was being pepper sprayed. And they beat him. As they were beating him, they took away his gun. He legally, folks, sat there, had a concealed carry. He didn't even take out the concealed carry. He has a legal permit. Second Amendment, freedom from tyranny. Don't tread on me. We need the Second Amendment. We need guns to protect ourselves. If the government ever treads on us, all bullshit. It was always for white men. Always for white men. In the 60s, the Black Panther in California, my home state, said, okay, Second Amendment, cool. Same thing happened. We don't trust local, state, national police. We don't trust the law enforcement. You infiltrate us. You don't care about our communities. We got to protect our own. So we're going to legally and peacefully patrol our own communities with guns to make sure that you don't put hands on our women, children, family members, and boys. And what happened? It was the Republicans, and it was Governor Ronald Reagan who said, we need gun control. It was the NRA that said the blacks have guns now. F that. We need gun control. So then they passed the Mulford Act. Okay. Now they're saying the same thing right now. Why did he bring a gun? You have Republicans, these shameless pieces of shit, openly saying, why did he bring a gun? What was his intention for bringing a gun? Well, I mean, he must have wanted to cause something if he brought a gun. Concealed weapon. It's a concealed state. You can conceal with a permit, legal permit, no crimes. Alex Preddy, 37 years old, registered nurse, U.S. citizen, didn't even take out the gun, didn't matter, still killed him. Meanwhile, and this is why, in a way, I'm glad it's so open, folks. I want this racism out in the open. So you all the people told me I was being ridiculous, ludicrous, race baiter, anti-white, which I'm not. I think you all realize that I'm anti-white supremacist. Now you see it. Now when all the black people are saying, this is why we don't trust law enforcement, this is why we don't trust even sometimes the Democratic establishment, this is why maybe, folks, you should have immigration reform, maybe, reforming the police system, maybe, abolish ICE. Remember that? We've been saying that for a while. This is why. Because we kept saying, warning, that this will be a loaded weapon to be used against you. Kyle Rittenhouse, white man with a gun, hero. Shot and killed two white folks at a BLM protest. Hero. Police didn't touch him. And he openly shot and killed someone with a rifle. Daniel Penny subdued an unarmed black man on the subway, choked him to death. Hero. You know where he got the job, folks? Anyone follow this? You know how you watch, I don't know, man, capitalism and racism. I know what you're talking about. You know who gave him a job? Even though he's completely unqualified? Andreessen and Horowitz, Mark Andreessen, one of the technocratic broligarchs, gave Daniel Penny, the man who was acquitted for the murder, a job. He was rewarded. Kyle Rittenhouse, rewarded. The McCloskeys, during a peaceful BLM protest in St. Louis, Missouri, illegally took out their gun and pointed it at these peaceful protesters. It was a misdemeanor. They were pardoned. They were pardoned, and they were giving Plum's 5-minute, really glossy, if you will, the 2020 RNC. Go check it out. The McCloskeys addressed America and talked same type of language white supremacists use: invaders coming to our communities, lawlessness, violence, all the same. It could have been from Birth of a Nation. All right, same type of language that the slave patrol used. Right. That guy, McCloskey, the husband, it was a husband and wife, ran for office, lost. Okay. Daniel Perry, another white man, explicitly in Texas, shared his intent to go and kill someone, went to a BLM rally, shot and killed a white man who was there with his black girlfriend. A jury of his peers convicted him. He was serving 25 years in prison. Go check him out. Go check out who pardoned him. Abbott. Abbott pardoned a man who literally was convicted by a jury of his peers in Texas for murdering a person. So if you're a white man with a gun, or if you're wearing a MAGA hat, you can be a violent insurrectionist. You could beat up cops. You could shoot and kill white people. You will be a hero. If you are a white person who is against Donald Trump, you are a domestic terrorist. What they've been doing to black and brown and Native American and Muslim bodies, now they're doing to you. This is not I told you so. This is not me being happy. This is not me being gloating about it. I'm just trying to connect the dots for you. This is an American as apple pie. This has been happening since forever against Native Americans and black folks. This has been supercharged with the war on terror. This has been outsourced to other countries, imported from other authoritarian regimes. They all trade information, intelligence, training techniques. Okay. Now they're trading surveillance techniques. Palantir got funded with billions of dollars. The oligarchs are raking in the money. We just found out that Doge, a Doge member, some huge news that should have been top 20 news, unless, I mean, people were being murdered in broad daylight by a American slave patrol and Gestapo. A Doge employee, we don't know who, stole our secret information and then gave it apparently to Republicans to influence and interfere with upcoming elections. That's what we know about. So they have our secret information. We know that. They have our social security numbers. We don't even know the full extent of what they have. And we don't even know who they've sold it to. Okay, now we know they've given it to Republicans to try to interfere in upcoming elections. Whenever they sold it to foreign countries like Russia, China. Okay, who stole our data? Elon Musk. He gave $300 million, got Trump elected, got rid of all of the regulations, got rid of his competitions, got $38 billion in subsidies, is about to become a trillionaire. Peter Thiel funded J.D. Vance, literally groomed his entire career, hand-delivered him to the White House. One of the co-founders of Palantir. Palantir's got billions of dollars. Democrats and Republicans perfectly fine funding it. Democrats like Gavin Newsom perfectly fine with AI now, folks. Perfectly fine with AI and crypto. Billionaires have given more money, a record amount of money in 2024. They're planning to give a record amount of money in 2026. Citizens United, thank you. That's what happens when you have capitalism mixed with racism. And I would add white Christian nationalism. White Christian nationalism is just white supremacy with a cross. That's all it is. I have a fantastic video coming out tomorrow. Robert Jones explains the white Christian nationalist angle and endgame. All right. Are you all with me? You still with me? Yes? No? So, Nick, you here? I'm going to bring you on in a minute if you're here. This week, many of us said, don't fund DHS. We said, abolish ICE. We were told, too extreme. You lefties, too liberal. I shared with you my litmus test last week. I shared with you my litmus test this week. I'm going to share my litmus test again. This is my litmus test for any Democrat moving forward. And I'm going to put a straight up warning to all Democrats. Who am I? I'm nobody. We're all nobodies. We're all somebodies. The Left Hook, thank you all, now has 101,000 subscribers. We went from 0 to 101,000. My YouTube channel, I just kind of started at 70,000. More importantly, I'm connected to a lot of influencers who have a lot more people than I do on Blue Sky. Apparently, I don't know, man. They said I'm like top 20 on Blue Sky influencers. Great. About 300,000. So whatever I have, I'm nobody. I'm a nobody. I'm a middle-aged dad. But I will do whatever I can, and I will marshal all my very influential, powerful friends who have a lot more money than me, are better looking than me, and you all like a lot more than I do. And, you like them a lot more than me. Please go for it. I'm going to go all in, and I'm going to go after these Democrats. I'll tell you why before I talk about these Democrats. Well, Waj, why can't you go against the Republicans? I know what they are. You've seen me on CNN, on MSNBC. You've read me in New York Times, Daily Beast. Haven't I been saying they're a right-wing authoritarian force for a decade? Haven't I been saying they're a pro-death cult? Haven't I used the word fascism? Didn't I say Donald Trump won't leave? Didn't I say he will do an insurrection? Didn't I say he will pardon the insurrections? Didn't I say last year, take him literally and seriously, last October, when he quoted Hitler and said he would unleash the National Guard and military from the enemy from within? Didn't I say you can't coddle these people? You have to crush them legally and peacefully. Didn't I say that these folks are playing for all the marbles? They will blow past any centrist. They will see any conciliation as weakness. They will crush you. Didn't I beg every institution to resist, resist, resist? Didn't I beg this week the House Democrats to not fund DHS? Please don't fund it. Please don't fund it. This will come and bite you back in the ass. You're funding our own murderers. And 7 Democrats said, you know what? We're centrists. We're going to fund them. And those 7 Democrats, give me a second. Let's name them. Jared Golden of Maine. They've unleashed ICE in Maine. Henry Cuellar, a man who was indicted for accepting foreign bribes and pardoned by Donald Trump. A man that Nancy Pelosi whipped votes for in 2022. A man who's been anti-abortion. But you need any you need them. Isn't it? Would you rather have a Henry Cuellar than a Republican? No. No. I don't care. If you're telling me my choice is between a Henry Cuellar and a Jared Golden rather than a Republican, what's the point? Give me a Republican. These people just voted to murder another man. All right? Is that Democrats have you in a headlock? That's what I'm saying. They have you in a headlock. Well, it's either us or them. I choose neither of you. If you're giving me a choice between Henry Cuellar, Jared Golden, Don Davis, Tom Suozzi, Laura Gillen, Vicente Gonzalez, Marie Glusenkamp Perez, and an actual fighter, I'll choose the fighter. I'm done. This is me, folks. I'm going all in. I choose the fighter. I've heard the strategy. Check out my debate with Mike Nellis I put up earlier today. I see where he comes at it from a strategist point of view. I mean, yeah, but if you can get the votes of a Golden or a Cuellar or a Manchin, I'm like, no, I don't need a Manchin. I don't need a Manchin. Nellis said that. He goes, I'd rather take a Manchin than nope. We deserve better. I don't need a Manchin. I don't need a cinema. Seen it, done it. Nope. You're a Vichy Democrat. Calling them like I see it. I don't need Vichy Democrats. We don't need Vichy allies. We don't need people who are complicit. We don't need people who are weak. We don't need people who will fund an agency that openly sees us as the enemy, murders us as cold blood, and then calls us domestic terrorists. You go ahead. White moderates, rich brown and black people I've talked to, and Asians who think you won't be affected, go for it. Break bread with these Vichy Democrats. Good luck. They just murdered 2 white folks. I'm talking about all the brown and black and Asian folks and Muslim folks who I've talked to recently, the upper class ones, the middle class, the rich ones who said, we'll be fine. America will reset its course. Good luck. I hope you're right. I hope I'm wrong. Last time I checked, fascists come for everyone. And they just came for 2 white folks. And you ain't white. Yes, you're wealthy. You ain't white. Yes, you live in a house, big house. You ain't white. Yes, you golf with Chet. You ain't white. Yes, you drink rosé with Karen. You ain't white. And even if you're white and you thought I'd be safe, I give you Alex Preddy and Renee Nicole Good. They're going after white folks. So you're telling me I have a choice between these Vichy Democrats and Republicans who both came together to vote for DHS, where Kristi Noem is openly lying to my face and saying that if I legally and peacefully just record ICE beating up people, I will be shot dead, and then my government will call me a domestic terrorist. And you're telling me that's my choice. I'm done. Why? You deserve better. I don't need a Manchin. I don't need a cinema. I don't need a Henry Cuellar. I don't need a Jared Golden. I don't need Vichy Democrats. I need fighters. So this is my litmus test. I'll share again with all of you. I'll bring Nick on, want his thoughts. And I also want to talk about, I think, where we're going, because they're telling you where we're going. It can't happen here. It's happening here. There was a violent insurrection. The guy who led the insurrection got reelected. He pardoned the insurrectionist. He invaded Venezuela. He stole their oil. He put the money in Qatar. He wants Greenland. He doesn't give a shit. They're promoting Nazi slogans now openly. They're murdering American citizens. They're lying to your face. What more do you need to see? Please, wake up. Can't happen here. I'm about to tell you what's about to happen. Can't happen here. Put your head in the sand. Peace out. The majority is going to organize around you. Good luck. All my rich, brown, Asian, Muslim friends, good luck. Good luck. Chickens for Colonel Sanders, man. Good luck, white moderates. Good luck. You're going to need it. You're going to need it because fascism comes for everyone. Eventually, they come for fellow fascists. Why? Because they run out of bodies to kill. Got to go after the Somalis. Got to go after the Haitians. Got to go after the pro-Palestinians. Got to go after the allies of the pro-Palestinians. Got to go after the Jews. Got to go after the Muslims. Got to go after Antifa. Got to go after Venezuelans. Shit, the trans, lesbian moms. Liz Cheney, even though she voted with me 95% of the time, you were against insurrection. Got to go against you. Miles Taylor, got to go against you. Mike Pence. Even though you're a reek, just because you decided to do your job, gotta go against you. White people who are siding with immigrants, gotta go against you. You're a veteran, doesn't matter, gotta go against you. They go after everyone. They go after everyone. That's how fascists stay in power. They need perpetual enemies to justify their campaign of terror. I alone can save you from them, the enemy. And as Niemöller poem, as you know, in that Niemöller poem was a lament, because that Niemöller poem was written after he was one of these Vichy's. He was one of these moderates. He was one of these people, what doesn't affect me, won't bother me. He was a Lutheran pastor. I'm fine. And then he's like, oh my God, they came after my allies. That poem, folks, was a lament. That was a regret poem. It was after the fact, okay? And like you said, those detention centers, $170 billion for ICE and detention centers. How do prisons and detention centers eat with bodies? You think it's just going to be black and brown bodies? They just said, white America, you're a domestic terrorist. They said you're a domestic terrorist. They said Alex Pretty, a white man, is a domestic terrorist. They said Renee Nicole Good is a domestic terrorist. What does this country do to terrorists for the past 27 years, 26 years? Bombs them. What do they do to Venezuelans extrajudicially? Donald Trump said they're terrorists. They're terrorists. I have the right to declare them terrorists, and I have the right to kill them. Which is why we said, I'm sorry, folks, it gets back to racism. We've been saying on the left hook, pay attention to what's happening in Venezuela. And then I remember this one clip I've been mentioning again and again on the left hook where Pam Bondi, was sitting with Donald Trump. Donald Trump fell asleep, as he always does, and Pam Bondi says, we're going to do to these American terrorists what we've done to Venezuelans. To which I said, murder them? And the answer is yes. September, Ken Klippenstein found the National Security Presidential Memo 7. We've talked about a lot on this show. National Security Presidential Memo 7 outlines indicators of radical left-wing violence. Some of those indicators of radical left-wing violence and terrorism are any speech deemed anti-American speech or anti-Christian speech. Around the same time, in September, Donald Trump and the Trump administration said that Antifa is a terrorist organization. That's the same language they used to describe the peaceful protesters at the No Kings rally. That's the same language now they have used to justify the murder and execution of Alex Pretty and Renee Nicole Good. For those who are wealthy, and for those who are white, and for those who are the chickens for Colonel Sanders in my own community, what makes you think you'll be safe? Drive at the wrong place in the wrong time. Good luck. Good luck. Where is this going to go? This is a precursor for the Insurrection Act and martial law. Last week, on cue, remember that I did this video and I said they're going to do the Insurrection Act. Donald Trump said, I'm open to using the Insurrection Act. What did Stephen Miller say today? Domestic terrorist causing mayhem. Who has been trying to use the Insurrection Act since the summer? Stephen Miller. Who unleashed ICE to specifically, directly create a conflict with protesters in LA? Stephen Miller. Who has tried to create a Iraq-like fire again and again and again since the summer? Stephen Miller. Who said I can invoke the Alien Enemies Act because we're being invaded? Stephen Miller. Supreme Court, in a rare rebuke, said no, this is not an invasion, you can't. What happened during the Alien Enemies Act when it was used? America interned innocent American citizens of Japanese descent, ruined their lives. He wants internment. Oh, look, we've created detention centers. After Charlie Kirk was murdered, before there was any suspect, Donald Trump came out and said what? Radical left-wing terrorism. Oh no, it was Tyler Robinson, a white man from a Christian family. You never hear of him again. Who kept saying we have to crush radical left-wing terrorism, even after it was shown that it was Tyler Robinson? Stephen Miller. Who keeps saying they and them killed Charlie Kirk? Who's the one with the Botox and the one who's age horrific? Caroline Levitt. They, them. Stephen Miller, they, them. J.D. Vance, they, them. Which the rest of us are like, what do you mean they, them, bro? What do you mean they, them? I think you mean Tyler Robinson? Then you saw the National Guard members killed. Afghan national. Oh, they had a boner in the Trump administration. Yes. A Muslim and Afghan national killed him. Yes. Oh shit. Oh, he was radicalized by us. Oh, he worked for the CIA. Oh, he worked for a very troublesome CIA unit that was notorious for war crimes. Oh, we're the ones who made him a citizen. Shit. Pivot, pivot, pivot. Next week, who did they pivot to? Somali. Somali fraud, Somali fraud, Somali fraud, Somali fraud. Remember that? Somali fraud, Somali fraud, Somali fraud. Then they murdered Renee Nicole Good. Domestic terrorist, domestic terrorist, domestic terrorist. Meanwhile, he's pardoning fraudsters left and right. Pardoning fraudsters left and right. Venezuelan drug smugglers. Meanwhile, pardoning the ex-president of Honduras, who was one of the biggest drug smugglers. So what's the end game? The end game is they're going to use this as their ragtag fire to declare the Insurrection Act. The Insurrection Act allows Donald Trump to federalize the National Guard and unleash the military across America. Then he's going to say, I, as the commander-in-chief, need to bring peace and order to this country. The National Guard and the military and ICE will be deployed against these terrorists within until we have calm. I'm going to take a guess here. I'm just going to throw in the dart. Throw a dart in the dark here. It's just going to be chaotic until the midterm elections. And then he can say, listen, man, I want to have midterm elections, but I'm president of the United States of America. Look at these domestic terrorists. Look at Antifa. Look at Venezuelans. Look at Muslims. Look at throw in the blank. Fill in the blank. We have to punt and suspend these elections. And you know what? We need martial law. We need martial law. And that's the next step, folks. That's the next step, which is why we have said from the beginning, and now you see some hope, but it might be too late. Go on offense. Democrats, institutions, corporations, judges, lawyers, private firms. But they said, hey, man, it's bad for business. 2 dead, murdered white bodies ain't good for business. And they're slowly realizing it, which is why this month, Spotify, which was proudly and openly running ICE ads, didn't care that they terrorized our communities, zip-tied kids, detained individuals, kidnapped and sent 230 men to die in a CCOT prison. 30-plus people died in their custody, all good. But after Renee Nicole Good's murder, like, oh shit, a white woman was killed. This ain't good for business. And this is why I feel like, and I know this is going to sound deeply cynical, folks, they don't care about black bodies. They don't care about brown bodies. They don't even care about white bodies. They don't. The people in power, the corporations, the 1%, let's go back to capitalism. At the end of the day, the color green even trumps the color white, which is a very powerful color. The religion of these people is capitalism. In God we trust. If it's bad for their bottom line, if murdering white people and terrorizing white communities is bad for their bottom line, and it is, they know this is bad for business. That's when they're going to be like, whoa, easy. Reverend Barber is here? Is he? I don't think so. So economic boycotts, strikes, hit them where it hurts with their money, work with Jimmy Kimmel, mass protests, and I'm going to bring Nick in, a mass culling of all Vichy Democrats and those who collaborate. A mass culling. Oh, I forgot to give you my litmus test. Yeah, I'll give you my litmus test. Then I'll bring in Nick. Sorry, this is I don't do notes. Forgive me. I just tried. I press record, and trying my best. Lots happening. We got a snowstorm coming. Everyone who's joining us, 2,600 people. We lost our beloved cat Bilu. You've seen him, the big fluffy cat who comes here. I'm the one who got him from the shelter. He hasn't come home in 3 days. I walked around everywhere. He's always come back within a day and a half or 2 days. I hope maybe he was crossing the road 3 days ago. A neighbor saw him. I went up and down today everywhere, but it was freezing. Tomorrow it's a snowstorm. So I pray this cat's safe. I hope he's safe. I feel like I'm the guy who got him from the shelter. He's closest to me. I gotta save this cat. So inshallah he's safe. Inshallah he's healthy. Inshallah he comes back. Just send a good vibe, a good prayer. I'm hoping that maybe a neighbor within like a half-mile radius or something, maybe pick them up. Unfortunately, I can't go travel tomorrow, and I was going to go every. If I'm not on Monday or Tuesday, it's because I'm literally walking around door to door trying to get this cat. We put the emergency out. I'm going to just go on every wooden lamppost. I'm just gonna post the flyers. So inshallah, he comes home. All right. So it's been a busy day. That's why I've been trying my best, and it's 8 p.m. is the only time I could come on. The litmus test I have, and I promised to bring on Nick, who's been very patient. This is my litmus test. You all tell me. I've been saying it for a while. I say it now. I'm 10 toes down. I will refuse to support any Democrat unless they commit to the following: affordability and accountability. I'm not dumb. I know you see that affordability magic work for Zoran. I don't believe you. I want affordability and accountability. And I want your specifics for affordability and accountability. Number one. Number two, in no specific order, abolish ICE. Been saying it. A majority of America is with me now. You all told me, you centrists, that this was crazy. Ain't crazy anymore. Hasn't been crazy for 20 years. Abolish ICE. If you tell me, I don't care. You can use any synonym you want. You don't have to say abolish ICE. You tear it down. Make redo it. Whatever. Abolish it. Tear it down. Whatever. Abolish ICE. Number three, connecting the dots. I do not believe you if you say you will fight fascism at home if you support fascists abroad. If you still support a genocide abroad, I know you'll support fascism and genocide against us. So if you're still with Netanyahu and funding Israel, I'm done with you. And guess what? The overwhelming majority of Democrats and about a third of Republicans and many independents are done with you as well. Four, speaking about accountability, the 1% got permanent tax cuts at the expense of $1 trillion in Medicaid and $170 billion to ICE. We're not going to have healthcare, but the rich are going to get richer. And Elon Musk, who stole secrets from Doge, is going to be a trillionaire. And Peter Thiel, who's a white nationalist, is funding J.D. Vance to take over. And Alex Karp is raking in millions. If you refuse to go against the oligarchy, refuse to name them, refuse to become an enemy of them, refuse to, at bare minimum, tax them, tax the wealthy, tax the 1%, tax billionaires. If you're unwilling to do that, I'm done with you. And my fifth litmus test, and this is my litmus test, is if you are going to, I'm going to keep paying it real good attention to who you're going to throw under the bus. If you're going to throw Palestinians under the bus, if you're going to throw Mexicans under the bus, Somalians, immigrants, trans students, lesbians, that means you're going to throw all of us under the bus. If you're willing to throw one of those groups under the bus, I know you're going to throw me under the bus. So if you're willing to throw the woke under the bus, I'm throwing you under the bus. My 5 litmus tests. I'm going to go after every Democrat with everything that I have. I'm going to push them. There's still, I don't even know if we're going to have elections, folks. I'm being honest with you. But I want you all to push. Look, James Tallarico came out today, abolish ICE. Look, Pritzker came out today, abolish ICE. I give credit where credit's due. They said this was impossible. This is crazy. This is leftist talk. Oh, really? Look how quickly these politicians change. They're not your friends. They're tools. Sharpen the tools. Look how quickly they changed. Once it was white folks, they're like, oh shit, abolish ICE. They see where the wind is blowing. They see the polls. They see the YouGov poll that came out. They see the Siena poll. They see the people out on the streets. They see white people pissed off. Now they care. Push them. Especially if you're white. Push them. Look at that. All of us were crazy. We were crazy. Now they're saying abolish ICE. Democratic establishment will take popular liberal ideas that are actually popular with the majority and have good policy. After they take them, they'll punch the left and bear hug Liz Cheney. I'm done with it. They'll punch the left and tell us we have to accept Henry Cuellar, Jared Golden, Don Davis, Tom Suozzi, Lauren Gillen, Vicente Gonzalez, Marie Glusenkamp Perez. That's what Ezra Klein said. We have to, he literally mentioned 2 of these people by name. We need people like this. We need more people like Manchin. F yourself, Ezra Klein, you feckless piece of shit. I can't stand you. I'm sorry for being so blunt. Charlie Kirk did politics the right way. Go launch yourself into the sun. I'm done with these people. I want you to have this type of, I rarely get angry, folks. I'm not even angry. I'm like, I have a righteous rage. Done with Vichy Dems, done with Vichy corporate establishment hacks, done with any Vichy collaborator. I'm done. You've heard my litmus test. I tried to connect the dots about how this is not just the Gestapo. This is the American Slave Patrol. This is white supremacy. This is what happened to black folks. Learn from black folks. Learn from brown folks. This is what they did during the war on terror. This is what we warned about. The war on terror has come home. The war on terror has now been turned against Americans. The loaded gun that we gave the U.S. government against brown people, black people, Muslims, Somalis, Yemenis, Palestinians is now being used against white Americans. Anyone who says don't abolish ICE, I'm done with them. I'm done. We need accountability and we need 10 toes down, full scale resistance legally and peacefully. You need to go all in and resist. Minnesota, folks, there is a horrible snowstorm coming. It is cold right now. In DC, there are people out marching. Respect. I mean, this is going to get bad here. 22 states, it's going to get bad. There are people out in Minneapolis right now. People are pissed. And you know what gives me some hope? White people are pissed. White lives, I know some people might like hearing this, saying it as a brown man, as a Muslim man. White lives matter more than my life. White blood matters more than my blood. White grievance matters more than my grievance. White rage matters more than my rage. When white people get pissed off, when suburban moms get pissed off, when white veterans get pissed off, I'm telling you, these elected officials, these Democrats, corporate America, they pay attention. When there's black bodies, when it's brown bodies, when it's Palestinian bodies, no one gives a shit. They just don't. But when white folks get killed, and they just killed two white U.S. citizens, Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy, and they're lying to our face and your face, and they're calling them domestic terrorists. What will they do to you? Sorry, this I've said it before. I'll say it again. White folks watching, this is your diehard John McClane moment. This is your Ellen Ripley moment. You always wanted to be John McClane? John McClane moment. Right now. Stand up, speak out, be loud, be like those veterans out on the streets, be like those 70-year-old veteran, say enough is enough, protest. If you have family members, be loud, make people uncomfortable, use your dollar, boycott. I'm telling you, folks, America pays attention to suburban. And by the way, they hate women. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed how much they hate women? They killed Renee Nicole Good because she was being lippy. No, she wasn't. You've seen how these white women, how they call her the effing B, how they threaten them. These are weak men. They hate women. White women stand up. Grand Tifa stand up. White folks stand up. Join the rest of us. I'll bring in Nick Paro, who's been waiting, and Glenn. Buddy Glenn's here. I don't know if Glenn wants to join, but if he does, welcome, Glenn. I don't know what Nick and Glenn are going to say. I think Nick has been listening to me for a while, so he knows where I'm at. I don't know if Glenn's been listening to me. I shared this with Glenn on his show. If you want to come on, great. If you don't, no problem. I'm waiting for Nick Paro and Glenn Kirshner. Nick Paro is a veteran. Nick comes on often. Nick was on live earlier today. Nick, sorry, I was looking for my cat. Nick, your response to what I said, disagree with me?
No, I agree. Waj, thanks for inviting me on. I'm sorry you lost your cat. That's really sucks. Um, um, but and yes, I agree to pretty much everything you've said. This whole time I've been listening in. Like this is the time where we boycott, where a mass general strike would probably be on the radar. Apologies, I have my snake out, so he might be slithering around while I'm doing this, and I'm going to try and keep him in one place and
Dope.
hang on to him.
What's his or her name?
Thanks. His name is Bucky the Slither Soldier Barnes.
Awesome.
Yeah, you inspired me with this is your Ripley moment. This is your
John McClane moment.
this is your McClane moment. This is your freaking Indiana Jones moment, y'all. Like
Absolutely.
Indiana Jones taught us as kids, all of us, to punch a Nazi in the face. And I'm not saying figuratively punch Nazis right now because we're not here to incite violence. We're not here to incite assaults or rage. We are here to focus our anger into action and continue putting pressure on people. And I totally agree. Like feckless Democrats, just retire. Like right now, retire. If you're not going to do anything, leave. Retire. Republicans, if you're feckless and don't want to do anything, just retire. If you have your pension, retire. We won't even try and take it from you for a while. You'll even get until maybe 2028 to hold on to your pension, and then we'll fucking get you all for insurrection. But you know what? Just retire. Because when we go under quorum in federal Congress, a new election has to happen. That's what happens. That's what has to happen. So let's get all of
Inshallah.
to
I will say
retire.
inshallah.
Yeah. Um, It could happen, but it won't. That's not the way we're going to do it. But I think you're right. The big concern for me, the thing that I saw after everything today, um, and after watching and reporting on it for 4 hours of just seeing that
Yeah, I
video
saw you were
of
a machine, man. You were a machine.
dude, that I had to watch that video a lot, and it was awful. 10 shots, 10 shots heard
Yep.
round the world today.
Yep.
10 shots into a VA ICU nurse
Yep.
who was legally allowed to carry a gun. This is America, y'all. We have a Second Amendment. You're legally allowed to have a weapon, especially in a state where you are registered and have it fully vetted that you are safe to have that weapon. He's a
Yep.
VA nurse, which means he's gone through mental health checks, which means he goes regularly and is part of a system that would check on him if he was unstable. He shouldn't have had a gun if he was unstable. Guess what? He wasn't. He was legally allowed to have a weapon. He had his concealed carry permit. He didn't have his hand on the weapon at all. They disarmed him before murdering him.
I
An
saw it.
ICE agent took the gun from him that he legally had and was not holding. He had a camera. He had his phone camera in front of him, both hands on it at one point until he stopped them from pepper spraying another person. He saved another
A
person's
woman.
life today.
I think a
He
white woman.
saved a woman's life today in with his own life. He saved that woman's life. I think in the end is because he got in the way and he got shot 10 times for
Yep.
being an uppity white guy who is a race traitor, who, like you said, all of the things. These are slave patrols. This is what this is. This is white supremacy and hate. This is vitriol come to life. And they want to install a new regime. They want to have regime change in Minnesota. They want to bring regime change to democratic states, to democratically run cities and towns. They want regime change for anyone that's not a Nazi MAGA, and
And
that's or a
anyone
new
who
Confederate MAGA.
Yeah, and anyone who opposes them is now a domestic terrorist who can be murdered by the state and their murder would be covered up. It's happened twice.
Yeah,
You've seen the playbook. That's where it's at. It's blue states. You want to crush the blue states and then you want to crush them. And even if they have elections, well, guess what? Now the blue states are under essentially martial law. Do you trust the election process? Doesn't matter. They're going to go for the Insurrection Act. They're going to crush blue cities. They're going to crush anyone who opposes them. So this is where Republicans need to wake up because I give you Mike Pence running for his life, and I'll give you some updated news. Hours after the Alex Preddy's murder, Representative Andrew Garbarino, a Republican of New York and the chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee, formally requested that the heads of ICE, CBP, and U.S. Citizen and Immigration Services testify at a full hearing. This is from the New York Times. Republicans have been generally supportive of the Trump administration's immigration policies and conducted few formal oversight efforts. Watch how Garbarino gets threatened now in real time, just like what happened with Marjorie Taylor Greene. The American
yeah,
Nurses Association, as Nick was saying, Alex Preddy was a nurse at the VA. Don't F with nurses. 19 minutes ago, the American Nurses Association condemned the fatal shooting of Preddy and called for a thorough investigation. The seriousness of this incident and others demand transparency and accountability. He is negative. Donald Trump is negative double digits on every single issue, including immigration. According to last week's YouGov, a majority of Americans, 51% said abolish ICE. And still, Nick, you had 7 Democrats and you still have Democratic leadership not saying abolish ICE. You know what I would say about Democrats? All Democrats should have a unified message. Why don't they? Leadership isn't there. They should all go right now to Minnesota, stand side by side by Tim Walz and Jacob Fry, who, by the way, this administration is going to try their best to, God forbid, arrest them or something. I mean, they're already criminally investigating them, folks. That's happening. You need to go side by side, have a press conference. Chuck Schumer, piece of shit. Tim Walz, Mayor Fry, Hakeem Jeffries, useless piece of shit, all next to him and say, we stand with Minnesota. We stand with Minnesotans. We're against ICE. We're not going to fund it. One good news is Chuck Schumer just came out and said, wait, the Senate Democrats are not going to fund DHS. So now they finally, but guess what, folks? They were planning on doing it until Alex Preddy was murdered,
yeah.
but they still haven't said abolish ICE. So I think any Democrat, Nick, Any
We're
Democrat
getting
who wants
there.
to run, if you want to run, JB Pritzker, I don't want a billionaire. He sees where the wind is blowing, came out and said abolish ICE. Talarico, did you see him today? Not only abolish ICE, he said unmask ICE agents. These
I,
guys are smart, Nick.
I'll give Tallarico that he's smart, but he's hired or and worked with James Carville, who is a racist and a misogynist. So I don't really trust that. I'd
I don't
rather
trust
vote.
any of them, Nick. I don't
I
trust
don't trust
any of them.
any of them. But the fact is, you want to. We keep talking, or people talk about an outsider. We don't know who's going to be the presidential candidate for the Democrats in 2028. Of course, we don't fucking know because it's years off yet. You know who would be probably a big dark horse at the moment is Mayor Fry. Like
Ah,
that dude is showing what it looks like to be a leader under a very duressful and stressful situation. His city is under invasion and attack by the federal government, and he has come out very bluntly and straightforward, authentically, and said what is on his mind and said what is important and said what the people need to hear. And I think that's important. He didn't downplay the scenario or the situation. He didn't tell people that they needed to disperse earlier today. He said, you need to exercise your rights peacefully. He
there
didn't
you go.
tell people that they were against, that he was against them. It looked like the police were trying to be against the protesters and the citizenry. Mayor Fry was on their side.
Good.
His
Exactly.
words and actions are meeting, and that's the
And this
type
is
of leader we need.
I agree with you, and this is why I took umbrage with what Tim Wall said last week, and I talked about it on the left hook, is when he did the both sides, when he said now protesters, let's not add fuel to the chaos and this and that, and I'm like, what the hell? They're not doing anything, man. This is when remember last week they got tear gassed
Mhm.
and fire gas at night. No more. Listen, prevent defense isn't gonna work. They're gonna go for the Insurrection Act. They're
Yes.
gonna create any excuse. What more do you need to see? Prevent defense won't work. Blitz, go on offense, man.
They don't know how
Use
to do that.
They're pathetic and feckless and weak, and I can't stand them, which is why I want people to demand better. Listen, governors, this is what you do. You have a call right now, today. Call. Pritzker lead the call. All right, we're in this together. This is the fellowship. This is the council. This is the Jedi Order. Use whatever analogy you want. Make yourself sound dope. He's coming after all of us. Doesn't matter what we do. Doesn't matter if we're nice. Doesn't matter if we praise ICE. Doesn't matter if we praise law enforcement. Doesn't matter if we appeal to his ego. Stephen Miller, he's all in. He's a white nationalist psychopath. He's the one in control. They're going to use any excuse to crush our skulls. They've already killed 2 Americans. This is our plan. We unite together. Blue states. We have the economy. We have the money. We have our own resources. We have our National Guard. Let's unleash our National Guard to protect Americans before he federalizes them. Let's tell our cops that you are now authorized to go after ICE agents to overstep your boundaries. Let's call for a mass boycott. Here's the thing, boom, 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 and let's all call for abolishing ICE right now. Abolish ICE,
Yes.
boom, 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 boom.
Yes.
Have them these Democratic governors. What I would do is, I know you're really busy. Make this statement in Minneapolis. Join Tim Walz, Pritzker, piece of shit Newsom. I'll tell you why he's a piece of shit in a second. Just have these 5 or 6 people come, bring in an AOC, bring in anyone. Do like, this is it. This is the center of the storm, Minneapolis. Fry, Tim Walz, you be in the center so we can actually show that we're supporting you. We're going to come in like Voltron, like the Avengers, boom. And these are the 3 talking points or 4 talking points that we all agree on. Boom, 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 boom. Press conference, bang.
Yes.
Leadership, unity, plan of action, and these people don't care about us. You now have thrown your hand in the ring for 2028 if there is free and fair elections. What do you think, Nick?
All they all they have to do is just stand there and nod too. They just
Oh,
need to
that's true.
let Mayor Fry just talk. They just need to stand there next to and behind Mayor Fry and just let him talk and nod. That's all the Democrats have to do. And then they would have hundreds of hours worth of video content and footage. And they could even just go say, hey, look, we did it. We tried. Like, we need to see you fucking try. Now is
Well,
the
look at this.
time.
Perfect timing.
Reps
Yeah,
try.
based on exactly what we said, that you stopped playing prevent defense just now, about 30 seconds ago, reporting from Minneapolis, New York Times. I'm going to read it. Attorney General Pam Bondi sent a letter to Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota today, blaming him and other Democratic elected officials for allowing lawlessness. In the letter, Ms. Bondi demanded that the state officials turn over records of welfare recipients, that local officials repeal sanctuary policies, and that the state turn over voter records to the Department of Justice. Huh. Quote, this time has come for the state and local officials in your state to change course.
They're literally threatening the governor of Minnesota and the entire leadership of the state of Minnesota that either you give us your state's voter roll data, which is their data that they don't have to hand over because the Constitution says voting is and elections are run by the states and not by the feds. So the states get to run those elections and hold their data without the feds coming in and demanding it. They're demanding a quid pro quo. A you give. They're holding for ransom. They're trying to ransom the state. I read Donald Trump's Truth Social post from earlier today, where he
Oh, yeah.
talked about Elon Omar and $34 million missing and the billions of dollars that have been stolen from the state of Minnesota by Elon Omar and Governor Walz somehow, and how we need to unleash and protect ICE, and this is an insurrection, and they're inciting insurrection. They are saying all of it out loud. They're saying
There you go.
every quiet part out loud. They're not hiding it. They want to see Americans fight back because then they have their cue to go, "Oop, now we can actually use the Insurrection Act." They want Americans to shoot back. There's a reason why they authorized door-to-door raids in Minnesota. There's a
That's right.
reason they authorize those types of events.
Well,
They are
also
trying to
the whistleblower
manufacture.
report. Did you see the
Oh, go
whistleblower
ahead.
report?
No.
Did you see the whistleblower report from earlier this week, 3 days ago, that said that ICE has now been instructed to ignore the Fourth Amendment and now they can barge into
Yeah,
people's homes?
yeah. Oh, yeah, I did see about that. That is a that is pretext so that for a false flag event. That is pretext for them to go into somebody's house who is, say, a libertarian gun nut, who is going to shoot armed, masked men coming into his home in the middle of the night, probably gonna be white, probably gonna be a Republican who's married to an immigrant, because a lot of them are specifically Filipino and Asian women, because a lot of them are veterans who just happen to go to the Philippines at some point and come home with a spouse because those women culturally are gentler or softer or easier to manipulate than white women because or black women and white women are uppity in this country and say what they have to say and speak on their mind.
That is the cultural stereotype, and that's the irony of it all is that these white
Yes.
supremacists love Asian, black, and brown women.
Yes. And so they're going to come into somebody's house who's going to use castle doctrine and uphold their Second Amendment right to own a gun and protect yourself. And they're going to shoot without asking. I would to, and I'm saying that in 100% honestly. I would. It's my house. It's my right to protect me and my family and my life. And someone's going to do it. And then they're
And
gonna go, "Oh, we're gonna take the guns away from these crazy leftists.
there
It's
you go.
only going to be in blue states that they crack down on gun control. They're going to take federal gun safety rules, and they're going to just strip you of your right to own a weapon because guess what? You're a domestic terrorist. You can't have a weapon. You're a domestic terrorist. You're a threat. We're
Exactly.
gonna bomb you. We're gonna take your guns away. That's where it goes. The Nazis did it. They're following the Nazi playbook, and it's older than that because the Nazis got their lessons from the KKK and the Confederacy because America is the birthplace of this fascism. America is the birthplace of this white supremacy fascism. We have a frickin' church that took over the entire state of Utah that is a white supremacist church up until the 80s and 90s because they were forced to be. Like, sorry,
It
sorry,
No, you're
we
not being sorry. The
genocided
Nazis
an entire civilization's worth of people in this nation to for manifest destiny, which is white supremacy in our founding myth. That's what we are breaking. We are breaking the white supremacy founding myths of this country, and we need to stop pretending that we're good or okay. We're not okay right now. Abolish ICE. It needs to be torn down. You can't fix a system that is the cancer. The system is the cancer. It has to be abolished.
It has to be abolished, and the Nazis actually took lessons from Jim Crow and segregated South and were so amazed and impressed with our efficient, brutal system of racism that that's what they actually took as inspiration to help them with their Nazi campaign, not making it up. And now what we're witnessing is what they did to disenfranchise and kill Black people and Indigenous people in America is the same playbook they're using against white America. Someone asks, are you going to safe in a red state? You're not safe anywhere because in red states, you're going to have measles and you're not going to have rural hospitals anymore. You're not going to have,
I'm
I'm
in a
not making
red
this up.
state.
Yeah.
My
Good luck.
daughter doesn't have rights. Like, my daughter doesn't have the same rights, and it's not like I'm not going to say I could leave. Like, I don't have the ability to leave where I live. Like, my kids don't have the same rights as Waj's kids do, and Waj's kids don't have the same rights as some other kids, say, in Washington State. Um, one of those reps, Maurice, I
Yeah.
can't remember her.
Glucin comp.
Yeah, Perez, she voted for the funding ICE. Like,
Yep.
screw all of them. Screw that. Vote them out.
Jared Golden out of
Vote them out.
Maine.
Like,
Vote
vote
them
them out.
I want to ask you this question about I don't have faith in the National Guard, military, cops, and veterans. I'll tell you why. Because many of them, to quote Rage Against the Machine, some of those who work forces are the same that burn crosses. And I remember in Charlottesville, oh, they were really happy to stand back and see anti-racist protesters get beaten up. And we've known for many years now, the FBI has talked about the infiltration of law enforcement by white nationalists and white supremacists. And my fear is that they would, instead of protecting the white majority against ICE, they would crack the skulls of the white majority protesting. But what do you think? You're a veteran.
I have a lot of faith in our National Guards of many of these blue states because I'm the son of a National Guard uh, commander,
Mm.
or prior. I have military throughout my history. Um, and maybe it's me looking at it with rose colored glasses or being wishful and hopeful on this, but I have a lot of faith in our National Guard, in the state guards. I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at
Uh,
that because I do not have faith that many of the police unions have our best interests at heart. The Minnesota State Police, who were in Minneapolis today, sure didn't look like they were protecting the protesters from ICE. They sure looked like they were protecting ICE from the protesters. And that's a very subtle but big difference. Your gun is pointed the wrong fucking direction, police officer. That's the big
uh,
difference.
the Democrats, I've never, on the at the Democrats on Twitter, Stephen Miller, Nick, I hope you're right. So many people of color, I think, join me right now. I don't trust them. I hope I'm wrong. I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong.
I wanna be right, but I'm
I want to be wrong. I want you to be right. Stephen
the
Miller tweeted
problem is
out,
both of us have a good habit of being right. So neither one hopefully we're both wrong enough that we just didn't place our enough trust in these local law enforcement.
I think, you know what? Let me put it this way. Knowing America, people only care when it affects them. People were fine re-electing Donald Trump because the grocery prices, which is why he's negative double digits, because grocery prices haven't gone down; they've gone up. Tourism to America is going to go down. America is now going to be a hellhole thanks to our destroyed HHS, thanks to the rise in measles, thanks to more chaos and violence. And if these National Guard members, cops, military are now asked to terrorize their own communities and crack the skulls of their own family members, that might be the thing that does it.
That might be the thing. That's why I think the National Guard I place trust in their home states specifically, is you have to see those neighbors again. Is unless you're willing to kill all your neighbors, you're gonna see them again, and they are gonna hold that over you for the rest of your fucking life. I would. I will. If I see somebody if I see somebody like that, like, there's somebody in my neighborhood who flies a blacked out US flag. That flag to me means unsafe, keep children away. I will rape your kids because that means that's the flag of give no quarter. We will just shoot you if you enter. That's the Oath Keepers. That's the Three Percenters. That's the
Right.
Proud Boys. This is the time when I spent a lot of today saying, take a step back, ch- chill yourself out, stop, use your mental health techniques, all of us, and then let's reassess as we all go together forward in like a unified message. We just need unification behind a message in all of this, which is abolish ICE and get rid of the Nazis who are running our country and stop the technocracy from taking over. Because I would love to talk about the fact that 150 million unique logins were leaked for sites across Facebook, Gmail, Netflix, Binance, passwords from everywhere. 150 million people had their passwords leaked today. Not a single fucking person is talking about that. I don't.
I want good trouble in the sense that, and going back to your point, I want these people unmasked.
Yeah,
And we saw a whistleblower do a dump of unmasking or naming 4,000 of these agents. You know what? They're F around, find out. You don't have to just go fight with guns. A lot of people will now be spending a lot of free time unmasking these ICE agents. And I do
here's
believe in, go ahead.
here's a great way to do that. If ICE shows up in your neighborhood, bring water balloons filled with apple cider vinegar to the protest. It is non-lethal, it is non-toxic, it's not violent. Throw a water balloon at them. They'll stink like shit. They'll stink like high hell by the end of the day of being sweaty in apple cider fucking vinegar clothes. They will smell and reek. Every single person who comes in contact with them will know exactly who they were and what they were doing and who they are because it will be all over the news. These
And they
people
will shoot you.
stink.
Yes, they will. They will shoot you. They'll shoot you for holding up a cell phone. But we have to have an unmasking campaign because we are human beings, and human beings are social creatures. There is something about social shaming, boycotts, isolation, people turning on you, loathing you, spitting in your direction as you walk. Because doesn't it just impact you? It impacts your spouse, your family, your kids. All right.
Mhm.
So these people think that with impunity and absolute immunity, they can kill us while wearing masks. I think they're gonna have another thing coming. I think a lot of them are gonna get unmasked. I think a lot of them are gonna get doxxed. I think people are gonna come up with very creative, peaceful, and legal ways to resist.
I don't think it's doxing to reveal the identity of a publicly or should be publicly available name for a federal officer who
You
is
should not be
not
masked.
supposed to be undercover or masked anyway. So, how can that be doxing? I don't want to use their words. It's not doxing. It is putting out public safety
Transparency.
notices. Transparency. It is a public safety notice to ensure that your neighborhood is not being terrorized by a white nationalist or a neo Nazi or someone with an SS tattoo on their neck or their arm or a Totenkopf under their shirt co- running for Senate out of Maine, who's claiming to be a Democrat. I'm still not over that, Graham Plattner. You can't just get away with wearing a fucking Nazi uh, tattoo on
Apparently
your
you
chest
can.
for
Apparently you
years.
can. Apparently you
And
can.
yeah,
That's where we are.
that's where we are. Like,
That's
if
where we
we're
are.
going to elect a Nazi, what's the difference between the Democrats and the Republicans? And I'm not saying Graham is a Nazi, but he said he was a anti-Nazi and like anti-extremist investigator. So he would have known what the Totenkopf meant because he named it on multiple occasions. It's recorded that he's named it. What makes us different than them? How do
He's
we
not
say we're any different? We can't.
he,
And then
he's not
what's
my
the
guy.
problem?
He's not my
He's
guy.
not my
It's up
guy.
to it's up to the Mainers. We deserve better. We deserve better. You all deserve better, folks. What I was saying is the Democrats, at the Democrats, the Twitter handle, interesting. Stephen Miller 7 hours ago lied. And he said, a would-be assassin tried to murder federal law enforcement, and the official Democrat account sides with the terrorist. And Democrats said, you're a effing liar with blood on your hands. You know what? This is the type of energy we need. But where were you
We
for
need it.
10 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you need to just say, F you, shut up, you're a racist, you're a fascist, we're going to hold you accountable. And I want them to run on this. Yes, we are going to hold you accountable, Elon Musk, because Elon
Yes.
Musk has been whining. He goes, they're going to hold us accountable. Yep. Yep, we will. We're going to impeach.
Yes.
Yep. Yes, we will. We will investigate you. We will get rid of you. We were due process in front of a judge and jury of your peers. We're going to investigate you, try you, prosecute you, and we're very confident that we're going to convict you. Like, they need to be afraid. I think everyone has to be afraid. I'm sick and
Yes.
tired of us playing prevent defense. I'm sick and tired of cowardice. I'm sick and tired of fecklessness. Folks, what more do you need to see? I just read what Pam Bondi threatened. Look at this. What does this have to do with anything? It has to do with everything because it's their end game. Attorney General Pam Bondi, 16 minutes ago, sent a letter to Governor Walz blaming him and Democrats for allowing lawlessness, demanded state officials turn over records of welfare receipts. Huh? What does that have to do with immigrants? That local officials repeal sanctuary policies and that the state turn over voter records. Huh? Does that seem like the strategy or the words or the actions of someone or an administration that is going to leave legally or peacefully, Nick?
No, it it isn't. They want the Insurrection Act. They want to consolidate power. Smegma Miller needs to go. He is a smeglamaniac. He is the worst human being, one of the worst human beings in the world. One of the worst. There's a couple of them that are pretty high up there. I want to read this too. Like, I just saw this article on Ground
Please.
News from it was published 6 hours ago, is that there are calls for the Arizona AG to resign after comments on ICE and stand your ground laws when she warned that the stand your ground law raises risks in immigration and customs enforcement encounters due to Arizona's many guns. Yeah, no fucking shit. Like,
You know who needs to be
we're a country of 400 million
million
guns,
guns?
more guns than people. And
Yep.
the fact that no one has defended themselves in an ICE raid is astonishingly, like, just restrained of the American people. The
As
amount of
something
restraint Americans have had in the face of fascism is astonishing. And
it's
we know the stakes. We know the stakes right now.
something I've been saying for a year is imagine what will happen if you normalize masked armed ICE agents terrorizing communities. Number one, you can be a criminal, wear a mask, and just say, I'm an ICE agent, and then go about doing your crime. Already happened in LA. Secondly, one of these days, they're going to put their arms on a conceal or open carry individual in a red state who says, don't tread on me. And now you're going to have, like you said, a white Republican shoot ICE agents, which is what they want because they want martial law. But eventually, what's going to happen is some people are going to be like, all right, well, if you're going to kill me anyway, I'm going to take out as many of you as I can because this is a country, like I've always said, like you just said, of 400 million guns, more guns than people, where we have more death and violence from guns than any other country in the world, where the number one cause of deaths of kids and young teens is gun violence. Folks, if this escalates, all right, it's going to get bloody, it's going to get bad. And of course, that's what Donald Trump wants so he can use the Insurrection Act. But I'll tell you what, it'll terrify a bunch of Republicans because they love money and they love life. And once they see white folks getting radicalized in this country, once they get death threats, I'm telling you, Nick, that's
Mhm.
when you're going to have some of them come out and say, wait, maybe we should back off on this ICE thing.
An easy way too, well, not easy. This is going to be a hard but needed way, is if you work for a company that pays you money, that is not, say, an independent media company like Waj or myself, where you guys are our paychecks, is if you have a boss that pays you money, make a company wide fucking meeting with everyone and ask them their stance on what the fuck is going on. and where the company stands and make your companies make a stance. If
That's right.
you are a key figure in your company, make a fucking stink. Make a big deal about this. If you are a key figure in your company and your company cannot risk losing you and you are pro democracy, you better be making a big stink at work and going, hey, I'm not going to work again until company makes policy that says this, this, and this, that we do not approve of ICE in any way, that abolish ICE is the only way forward, that whatever lobbying that we can do as a company, we will do to force members of Congress to abolish ICE, or at least in the meantime, unmask them. We can force those things, apply business pressure from within. Your companies will respond. Yes, some of you will lose your job. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. You ask your boss, who might actually be a fucking racist redneck or a racist MAGA guy who wants his money, may just fire you. You might have a case for a lawsuit at that point for unlawful termination. Just like I hope that Alex Preddy's family sues for defamation, because calling someone a domestic terrorist, just like Renee Nicole Good, I hope her wife sues for defamation, because calling someone a domestic terrorist without any evidence is defamation.
Yep.
You're defaming that person's character forever. That's like, I don't know how else to say that. And go make sure when you are at work, you make a fuss. Get people together. If you're in a union, get your union to make a very loud, open fuss and shut the country down.
We
And
have
shut
to
it
shut
down.
the country down. Economic boycott. I'll say it before, I'll say it again to parrot what Nick was saying, is that this country worships money. The religion is capitalism, and God we trust. All these people, you'll see them turn like that once they
Mhm.
realize their bottom line. They don't care about dead black bodies, brown bodies, Palestinians. They don't care about income inequality. They don't care about measles. They care if it affects them and their bottom line. I'll give you two examples based on what Nick just said. Costco went all in with their DI initiatives. They didn't bend the knee. Target said, hooray, let's get rid of it. Target lost its foot traffic. Its foot traffic went to Costco in less than a year. The CEO of Target got booted. Disney said, okay, we're cowards. We'll go in and cancel Jimmy Kimmel. The rest of us decide to cancel Disney Plus. Within 3 days, Jimmy Kimmel's bag got a 1 year extension. Spotify, smiling and happy and proud to promote ICE in September, in October, in November, in December, in July. Renee Nicole Good gets executed. They said, oh, yeah, we stopped doing that. They care about money. Now, what
Yep.
Nick said real quick, internally, I've been telling people to do that. It's been very rough because you've seen corporate private law firms, the biggest ones, decide to go with Donald Trump. Media has decided to go with Donald Trump. Silicon Valley has gone with Donald Trump. However, the outside pressure is intense. We have the numbers. We have the money. So you could cancel, you can subscribe, you cannot visit them, you can mock them, you could shame them, see their stock tumble, hurt foreigners. If they have foreign investors, if they have foreign customers, they're going to say, hey, guys, these are the same people who support the guy who said that you come from a shithole country and doesn't want 75 countries of the 193 countries to come. And by the way, is making your life miserable when you want to visit and make your relatives' lives miserable. Let their stock tank, their brand tank. I'm telling you. Then they'll start caring about white women being shot and killed, or nurses like Alex Preddy being killed. And furthermore, G. Elliott Morris, 16 minutes ago, check this out. YouGov is out with a new poll after ICE killed another person in Minnesota today. Abolish ICE, Nick, is now +5 among all adults and +12 among independents. You feckless, weak, pathetic, Democratic centrists, you pieces of shit, 7 Democrats who voted to fund DHS. I loathe you with all my fiber and being. I will do everything in my power to make sure that, inshallah, you do not have a seat in 2, 4, 6 years. You are done. I'm done with you. I'm done with anyone telling me I need to tolerate a mansion, a cinema, a Quayar. If these are the Democrats that I need that'll help me pass infrastructure, that telling me that ICE can send a drone to now terrorize you. We need law enforcement. I'm done with you. And I think you are done with them as well. Everything that we've been saying on the left hook and that Nick's been saying. This latest poll came out. It's just 9:30 p.m. Wait till next week. I said it a couple of days ago, Nick. I said that
Wait till
number is
Monday.
52 to I said 52, 53. Wait a couple of weeks. And if Democratic leaders messaged, because that's what leaders do, people follow your leaders, people follow elected officials, people are malleable. If they weren't, we'd still have segregation and women wouldn't be allowed to vote and we wouldn't have Loving v. Virginia and we wouldn't have marriage equality. You have to fight for it, message for it, connect the dots, be persuasive like AOC was and Bernie was when it comes to fight the oligarchy. Guess what? The real American, the white American, and the Rust Belt said, yeah, that's right. That is a supervillain. Go after them. When Zoran Mamdani said affordability, they're like, yeah, you know what? Pay taxes. Let's try for free buses. Message. But in order to message, you have to you have to have a message. You have to stand for something and you have to be willing to fight for something. And if you're not willing to fight for Americans, I'm done with you. I will be your enemy. I'm coming after you, centrists, Vichy Democrats. I'm coming after you. And if you're a fan of the Vichy Democrats and if you're blue and on and if you're vote blue no matter who, left gate for you. Maybe Nick's for you, left gate for
No,
you.
no, no. Sick of this shit, and Banner and Backbone are not for you if you're vote blue no matter who, because Chuck Schumer, let me push up my glasses, please. Let me write you a sternly worded letter. Um, Apparently is now withholding funding, like you were saying a little bit ago. You were reporting about that, about funding
He said
for
Schumer now said the
DHS.
Senate Democrats will not, vote for this bill until we review DHS funding.
I am so sick of this shit from them. I'm sick of it. Like, they've been lying to us for decades. And I bought into for a long time the vote blue no matter who. And I did vote blue, but I always vetted who I voted for. I didn't always vote. If I didn't really like them, I just left it off. I never voted for a Republican. I can proudly say that. Um, but what I
Yeah,
can
me
say,
neither. Me neither. I always vote strategically, the lesser of two evils,
yeah.
and I try my best to uh, sharpen the tool that we have.
And now we can see that it is time that we stop trying to find the lesser of two evils and we start trying to find someone who's good. And we start
Yeah,
finding people who are good and who are fighters and who are going to do the job that we ask them to do. And if they're not, they leave. You're a
you leave.
public servant. And at this point, too, it is time we start talking. And yes, it is a bold idea to talk about it. I have talked about, we need to be talking about constitutional amendments right now. We need to be talking about changing the framework of our nation in positive ways, such as creating a social democracy where everybody has guaranteed health care, guaranteed access to education, guaranteed access to food and housing and transportation and other basic necessities. And things like communication tools like the internet should be a free and available tool for everybody to use everywhere in the country, because of course it should be. And we should have national grids that actually work and forward thinking. We can do all of those things. The first thing we need to do is start pressuring Congress, if they don't want to leave, is to increase the size of the House. That's just a law. That's just a random law that they made in the 40s that said, oh, we're just not going to increase the number of representatives. Guess what? If we
Or
were in
how
a
about
true,
expanding the court? There's not
yeah,
in the
expand the
Constitution.
court.
You don't need nine. You could do more.
Yeah,
Expand the court. Expand the House.
expand
Statehood for
all of it.
DC.
Expand it, expand them, because then you get rid of gerrymandering. You vote all of them out. They actually have to be accountable to the districts they're in. We should have like 750 representatives on a baseline proportional system. That would give us an actual proportional representative democracy where we could act like semi parliamentary. But what we really need to do, the easiest thing we need to do, is guarantee a right for citizens to revoke the status of their elected officials. Guarantee a right for citizens outside of the parties, without a party apparatus, because fuck the parties, they're the problem. They have told us that we need to live in these systems. Our founders said, don't have a two-party system, you'll fail. Guess what? We're fucking doing it. George Washington was right. He might have been a slave owner. He might have been a shitty person. He was at least pretty right about this, and they gave us a good framework. We just need to change it. Make it so that citizens can have national referendums or statewide referendums that allow them to override what their senators or representatives are in the long run if they need to get them the fuck out. If your district says you are no longer representing us and 2/3 of that district, or even 3/5, let's go back to that old racist tool of 3/5 majority. If a 3/5 majority of your district says you don't deserve to be in that office, well, then you get the fuck out early because you're a public servant. You're not there forever. You don't get to say that you can stay there forever. We need national referendum tools. We need district wide referendum tools, and they need to be enshrined from federal level down. And that's what we
Uh,
should be demanding right now.
and end Citizens United. Amen. You have to get corporate money out, folks, because at the end of the day, every single elected official I've talked to on the DL says if you really want massive change, it has to begin with getting rid of corporate money, because corporate money across both aisles is what corrupts everything. I want to end this on Alex Preddy, bring it back full circle. And I just want to read something that just came out of the Washington Post. Quote, Alex Preddy, the man fatally shot, murdered by ICE agents on Saturday, was a local intensive care nurse dedicated to caring for veterans, according to his family, friends, and coworkers. Quote, Alex was a kind-hearted soul who cared deeply for his family and friends, and also the American veterans whom he cared for as an ICU nurse at the Minneapolis VA hospital. Preddy's family said in a statement shared with the Washington Post, Alex wanted to make a difference in this world. Preddy, 37, is the third person shot by federal immigration officials in recent weeks.
I have to
Final word to you,
say,
Nick.
as someone, one, Waj, thank you for inviting me on tonight. And thank you for having this discussion and making sure that people are talking about this. But, and as a veteran myself, as a disabled veteran who uses the VA system for his health care, who is alive today because of VA nurses, who can walk around today because of VA nurses and doctors, who has mental health that's worth some sort of shit because mental health professionals at the VA. I am so sickened again that I have to keep saying this is they're coming after veterans. They have been. They have been coming after our community forever. We are the most diverse swath of the country. We are the most minority led group of the country because when it comes time for war, they come hollering out to the Black neighborhoods and the Hispanic neighborhoods to find all the recruits they can.
And
And
poor
guess
whites.
what? And poor whites. And guess what? Diversity has won wars generation after generation. And this man could have been my VA nurse.
Mm.
This man could have been someone I was under the care of. This man took care of my brothers and sisters and others and everywhere in between. And they murdered him. And these right wingers who have been claiming states' rights and right to individual, personal, private gun ownership, carrying anywhere you want, open carry, Missouri, where you can just fucking carry wherever you want. But oh my God, some poor veteran and some poor ICU nurse who was conceal carrying legally
Legally.
gets to have a death sentence for that. That's not the laws, and those are not the laws. And Democratic AGs in states, step up. Now's your time. Now's the time because veterans are when the veterans are all awake, the there's going to be some issues. There's going to be storming of state capitals and saying you need to do your jobs, and not through violence, but through peaceful storming and protest, and giving the undue righteous hatred and anger that we need right now. We need to let out and vent as a nation. Vent the rage together and tell them to do their jobs. They're coming after us.
Fascists
So
come for
stop.
everyone.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, fascists come for everyone, and eventually they come for fellow fascists.
Yeah.
They come after Black people, brown people, Somalis, Haitians, trans people, LGBTQ folks. They came after Venezuelans, pro-Palestinian activists. They came after students, Muslims. They killed Keith Porter in LA. 2 weeks ago, they murdered Renee Nicole Good, an unarmed white woman. And today they killed Alex Preddy, a 37-year-old VA nurse who spent his life caring for our veterans, men, women, and individuals who risked their life to protect our country from threats both foreign and domestic. If they can kill these three American citizens, cover up their murder, lie about them, and defame them as domestic terrorists, what will they do to you and your families? So I'll end on saying this. America, especially those with the complexion for the protection, those who are privileged, this is your John McClane moment. This is your Ripley moment. This is your Indiana Jones moment. Right here, right now. Speak up. We have the numbers. The one thing that we have, and it's a big, big, big advantage we have the numbers. They don't have the numbers. And as we just saw with the latest poll and the latest polls, they are losing even some MAGA folks. They have lost independence. And furthermore, this religion of this country's capitalism, and I would say white supremacy, they're losing capitalism right now. Money, it's being taken away from them. And the color that trumps the color white is the color green. We have to use it. We have to use all the levers at our disposal to make it hurt. Enough prevent defense, enough Vichy Democrats, enough centrism. I need people to go on offense. Blitz them, blitz them, blitz them. And you deserve better than the 7 Democrats who voted to fund DHS. You deserve better. We deserve fighters. Nick, shamelessly promote yourself, sir, on this Saturday night.
Thanks, Waj. You can find me at Sick of This Shit Publications. I'm just like Waj in I don't hide anything behind paywalls. And I've got a couple sales going on, either 50% forever or 60% forever off. They're in my show notes all the time, or you can go full price if you want. It's only $5 a month. Or you can also find me on Banner and Backbone Media, which is the independent media collective that's coming together to bring a lot of tools and collaboration systems and deconfliction tools for friends in the community, for creators, so that we can have an easier time doing what we're doing and getting all this information out. So come subscribe with me over at Sick of This Shit Publications, or Banner and Backbone, or both. And thank you again so much, Waj.
I just give me a second. Let me shamelessly promote you. I put in the link for Nick. Go click on it. Like me, he's a terrible capitalist. Everything is free, nothing behind a paywall. We believe fascism thrives behind a paywall, and people need to be informed. And this is how we get communities to organize, and this is how we get the majority. Much like Nick, also the Left Hook is completely free. If you watch me on YouTube, it is completely free. I keep nothing behind the paywalls. We depend upon the kindness of strangers. We're like Blanche Dubois without the mental breakdowns. Nick and I depend on your subscriptions, and also those who are kind enough and have the means. If you can become paid subscribers, it's how we keep the lights going. I have a Forever special on right now. It's a terrible New Year's Eve capitalist special. Forever, $3.75. So in the next week, if you can sign up, $3.75 a month, $38 a year forever. Otherwise, it's $5, which I think most people say is very affordable. The people have taken advantage of the $3.75 that it's helped them. If you don't have the means, I get it. Give money to Nick. If you have some left over, $3.75 here. If not, just become a subscriber. It's free. And just the way the algorithm works, folks, the more hearts, the more likes, the more shares, the more subscriptions, it feeds the beast, and it helps Nick and myself get on top and drown out the Ezra Kleins and the corporate centrists and the Democrats that I'm telling you. On the Left Hook, I'm going to go after these people, man. I'm going to push them. Look, I pushed Ro Khanna on genocide, and then eventually, it wasn't just me, but he came around. So you just got to push these people. You got to push these people. Look, Pritzker, abolish ICE. Friggin' Talarico, unmask ICE. You got Bill Kristol saying abolish ICE. You got George Conway saying defund ICE. You got the YouGov poll that says a majority of Americans are now for abolishing ICE.
I think the Bulwark is now saying it. I
What's
think the
that?
bulwark is saying abolish ICE.
The Bulwarker is saying it. Crystal's
I
joined.
think. I think.
Yeah. Well, Bill Crystal, the guy who started it, saying it. If Bill Crystal is
If
saying it,
yeah.
freaking
What are you
what?
doing, Democrats?
What are
Come
you
on.
doing, Schumer and
Like,
Jeffrey?
fuck.
Yeah,
Do
Crystal is
more.
saying it.
Do
Conway's
more.
saying it. Get the F out of here,
Yeah.
man. I'm sick and tired of these people. We deserve better. We deserve fighters, and we will be the fighters. The fighters will
Yes.
come from us, inshallah. Be guys, as Nick said, I want to end on this point. Breathe, be organized, learn from our ancestors, learn from Black men and women who engage in peaceful, nonviolent resistance. They realized if they were able to, if they shot them up, they would crush them. So they put their bodies on the line. The white allies put their bodies on the line. Latinos came out. It took a multicultural coalition of the willing. It's all of us or none of us. I'm for all of us, folks. I'm not going to throw any of you under the bus. You don't throw us under the bus. Fascists come for everyone. And they came for a white man today, Alex Preddy, 37 years old, who was shot and killed for being a good human being. Say their names. Alex Preddy. Say their names. Renee Nicole Good, who was shot and killed 2 weeks ago, murdered. And say his name, Keith Porter, who has been forgotten, a Black man who was killed in LA by ICE. It wasn't recorded. Keith Porter, Renee Nicole Good, Alex Preddy. Remember their name, say their name, and if they can be murdered by ICE and this government calls them domestic terrorists, imagine what they'll do to you and your family. This is why we fight legally and peacefully. We speak out. Thank you to the 4,100 people who have tuned in at 9:45 p.m. on a Saturday. There is a horrible snowstorm coming that's going to impact about 24 states. It's going to impact here, apparently Virginia and D.C. Please be safe. Take care of yourselves. Look out for your communities. Make sure you have enough groceries. Make sure you have people who check up on you and vice versa. And for those who joined us late, this will be up in an hour or 30 minutes, however long it takes to load up on Nick's Substack that you must subscribe to and The Left Hook. And most likely I'll be stuck at home tomorrow and Monday. So maybe Danielle will come on. And if you can, send a prayer for Billu, our cat who's gone missing. Hopefully he's in a home right now. Hopefully someone picked him up. It's a snowstorm. I think that's what happened. Maybe he crossed in the street and maybe someone picked him up. But we're trying to look for Billu. Hopefully, inshallah, Billu's happy. I'm just worried because now it's a snowstorm. So hopefully Billu's okay. Just send him some good vibes for Billu, and for Minnesota and for all the people who are poor and unhoused. It's going to be very tough for them, inshallah. Hopefully they have shelter. Thank you all. Thanks, Nick, for taking the time, man. Thanks for all the work you've been doing today. Everyone take care of yourselves, be kind, and please, oh, please don't be a fascist.